Good morning, everybody. My name is Tina Trimis, and this is Counselor Corner, where we will be doing SEL lessons. Our lesson for today is going to be about learning empathy. And this lesson is for our older elementary, more along our 3rd through 5th grade. So after this lesson, our students will be able to understand what empathy means. They'll be able to explain why it is important to be empathetic towards others. They will be able to demonstrate a knowledge of ways that they can show empathy towards others. So this lesson is actually going to start a little more interactive before we actually go to the PowerPoint. So how you're going to start off this lesson is you're going to actually come into the room and just looking like you're about to address the students. And while you're about to do so, you're going to dramatically trip and stumble and almost fall to the ground. You're going to take some time to regain your composure and perhaps say something like, "Oh, I could have fallen and really hurt myself. Gosh, I'm so embarrassed." Then look at your students to see their responses or their reactions. Tell the students that you feel really, really embarrassed that this happened to you. Then ask the students, "Do you know how I feel? How would you feel if something like this had happened to you?" So after a few students can respond, explain that if they know what you must feel like after this incident, then that what they're feeling is empathy. So then we're going to start off this class at saying that today we are going to learn about empathy and what it truly means. Okay, so learning empathy. So what is empathy? So empathy is understanding or knowing what another person must feel or think, even if you are not the person that's experiencing what they're going through. So even if you cannot picture a time like this, then you must try to imagine what it must be like to be in that person's shoes, right? To be in their position. So you're going to put this up on the board. You could also have this printed out so they could have this in front of them, right? And you're going to say, show them this. So tell the students to take a minute and look at this picture. So then they're going to work with a partner. And after the students have enough time for discussion, you're going to ask them, why are the two people in this picture arguing? Right? Why are they arguing? One is saying there's a 6 and one is saying they're a 9. So if the two people put themselves in the other person's place, do you think it would help them to understand better? Right? So you're going to have them work together. They're going to come up with different ways. Think of different scenarios that they can go through, that these two people can go through. And you're going to ask themselves, right? And they're going to try to figure out exactly what they can do to help each other so they would not be arguing. So the next we're going to do is you're going to listen to a story. The story is going to be called Stand in My Shoes by Bob Sorensen. So what this book is about, this book is basically showing kids how easy it is to be empathetic, and showing them that empathy is the foundation of all social skills and personal relationships, right? And it's a story about a sister, her and her sister, and they are going through, asking all different things about how to be empathetic. So it's a good story to kind of tag on to what you are learning about. So as you go through this story, when you're reading it to the students, there are some points that you can go through, and you can stop and just do some different, almost some comprehension literature extension with it. You can see at times how come Alicia, who's in the story, how does she define empathy? What is her sister Emily asking her to do? You'll be able to ask, why is Emily's dad stressed and in a hurry? How does Emily empathize with him and show him that he understands his feelings? What happens to Rosie in the story? right? How does Emily stand in Rosie's shoes and help her out? And what did Emily do throughout the book? Why did she learn after her day of caring for other people's feelings? And what does standing in another's shoes truly mean, right? These are good questions to go through. You could stop them throughout the book, make sure that the students are actually paying attention and actually understanding what empathy means. So the 5 steps to empathy. So after we read this book, now we're going to go through and talk about what the 5 steps to empathy are, right? First step, paying attention, right? What is your friend saying? How would you describe their body language? Step 2, to connect, right? To make a personal connection to how that friend is feeling. And when have you experienced a similar feeling? Step 3, imagine. How do you think your friend feels right now? How would you feel if this were to happen to you? Ask your friend how they are feeling, right? And act, listen attentively to your friend and talk about their feelings. So now what you're going to do is now they're going to go through and get some practice, right? They're going to practice standing in someone else's shoes and showing them how they'll feel empathy. So after each scenario, you're going to ask yourself these questions, right? So these can work by themselves. They can work in partners, they can work in groups, whatever that works best for you as your teacher. They're going to ask, how do you think the person in your scenario feels? How would this situation make you feel? And if you observe this situation in real life, what could you do to show empathy? Our first scenario. Your best friend Sarah is jealous of the new friend you made, Lila. One day during the carpool line, Sarah begins to snicker and make mean comments about the car Lila's mom drives. Lila overhears and is embarrassed. You know that Lila's mom lost her job. So again, they have to go through these questions. How do you think the person feels in this situation? How would this situation make you feel? And how could you show empathy? The next one. A bully at school and several of his friends are surrounding a student at recess. They are making fun of his dirty sneakers. Again, they go through these 3 questions together. Your friend's mom and dad broke up, and they don't get to see their dad very much. Everything has changed at home for them, and they think about it all the time. Sometimes they cry about it at school as well. Okay, they're going to go through these 3 questions. Kayla got a new haircut, and the hairdresser accidentally cut her hair shorter than she wanted. All of your friends are saying she looks like a boy. Kayla leaves the classroom abruptly when she sees everyone laughing at her. Again, they answer these 3 questions. Shania is having a birthday party. The whole class is invited except for 1 student. Okay, go through these questions. Next. Children are picking teams for a baseball game during gym. 2 students are left, but the captains don't want to pick them. They keep going back and forth about what they should do. These 3 questions. Okay. So after you go through all of these scenarios, and the students write down their answers, you can have the students go through them with you and share their responses. You're also going to remind the students that showing empathy for others is just an important part of a classroom community, right? So when classmates or friends are upset or experience challenges, it's important that we put ourselves into their place in order to support them and make them feel accepted and cared for, right? Using those 5 steps that we had said to empathy will help us to be more compassionate and empathetic. Okay, so we can close with these questions. Why is it important to show empathy to others? And now that you know what empathy is, how do you feel that you can be more empathetic to others? There are different ways also if you wanted to extend this lesson as well. You can do more small groups and almost have them act out role play. So have students form these small groups and then they can perform short role plays showing what empathy looks like. This could be a little bit more hands-on and a little more fun. You could also have students write thank you notes to family, their classmates, or their school faculty or staff as a small act of kindness to build empathy on. You could also do almost like a service learning project where students can do such things as visit a senior citizen home, maybe collect food or clothes for a homeless shelter, serve food at a shelter, or write letters to either people that are in a homeless shelter or for essential workers. And these are all things that you could do as an extension onto what you've already done in the lesson. So thank you guys so much for coming on today. I hope you guys like this lesson and hope you can use it for your elementary school students. Thank you.